Good morning, everyone. So first of all, thank you for joining our webinar today. This webinar is about the 4.7, which is our new release. This is intended to be a quick release, and we want to close all of the gaps that we might have for the WMS part. So you may remember that the last year was about the ServOcean product, which is the field service add-on of ours. And this year we'll concentrate on the WMS, the warehouse management part. So today we'll talk about our plans for the next year, and we will show you what we did already or what we will release pretty soon with the new version. And yeah, we will tell you our plans, because we have a really good plans for webinars. So as we agreed last time, we will show you a couple of webinars in a regular manner. Yeah. So the plans for this year is, so we're planning to release two times this year. The first will be, as I have mentioned, focus on warehouse improvements, and we are developing also the client and the functionality as well. I think it's pretty important. So we made a really good list. We just planned for a month what we should do first. So we believe that this part is absolutely well focused, and it will rocket us to the top of the competition. The 4.8 release will coming, as you could see, in the first quarter or the first half of the next year, and we will concentrate on offline mode, automatic online offline switching. So our plan is to eliminate the difference between the offline and online behavior, because the end user doesn't really care whether he or she is online or offline. The system should handle everything when the signal is missing. Actually, today it's also true. So we have automatic background synchronization at the moment. So as you logging in offline mode, it works perfectly well, but you cannot reach out the full database, all of the data available in online mode, of course, by design. And that's what we plan to do. We will create a mixed configuration that can reach the full database when you have the signal, and still totally functional when you don't have the signal. Okay, so this release, I will give the word to Tibor at this point. Thank you for joining us again.
Okay, so good morning once again. So as Shandor mentioned, we are fully concentrating with this new release on the warehouse functionality and some other improvements as well. Part of this release, as you can see on the slide already, there are very cool stuff like smart scanning, workflow wizard behavior, extended HID or character mode scanning, NFC tag reading, and many other things which you will see in this session today. But let's quickly start what all these features are about. So let's start with the smart scanning. As you remember, with MobileNAV, we already support camera mode. We already support device-specific mode on Windows CE, and we also do support character mode on Windows CE. But basically, the extended barcode scanning capabilities are more or less sole for the Windows CE platforms. There is just a couple of exceptions, like the Socket Mobile has been already supported on Android and iOS version. But in this release, we will try to extend all these barcode scanning for the other platforms and devices. And as part of the extension, we are also doing much more than that. Because if you remember, for the CE functionality, there we had the the concept of barcode focus. The barcode focus was basically on a list or on a card where you have multiple fields for scanning, and there the user should exactly see and exactly tell the client which field he is about to scan. And smart scanning is trying to eliminate this knowledge, because yeah, we had the feedback from the partners and from the customers that sometimes the user would like to scan the different barcodes, like the item number or the cross-reference number or the bin code in a different order than it has to be. And the smart scanning feature, this new feature, is really concentrating on that. So it tries to eliminate the barcode focus inside the card or on the list. So no matter what you scan, the application will try to find out what has been scanned. So basically what it does is that it searches for the lookups configured on your custom configuration, because of course, since everything in MobileNAV, this is also configuration driven, so nothing is hard coded. So basically the lookups what you have already configured on a list or on a card will be checked by the application. We are also checking or matching the regular expressions. So if you have, so for example, regular expressions for the barcodes or for the bin code, like it always starts with bin and then an identifier or something like that. We can also match those. And given these informations, the application will try to find out what has been scanned. And if there is no result, then of course, just like now, there will be an error. If there is only one result, like we have found an item cross-reference number or we have found a bin code or whatever, then the barcode will just be simply applied on that field, like you have exactly told that you have scanned a bin code without any user interaction. And if there are multiple results for the search, then the user should of course decide what has been scanned. I will try to quickly present this in one of our page. So I will go to the new consumption journal line, because the new consumption journal line, as you can see, containing at the moment 4 different fields for scanning. And actually for the NAV code, it doesn't really matter what is the order for the scanning. So you can basically scan them any order except the location code and the bin code. Of course, the location code should come first, but the others, the order number, the production order number, or the item number can be scanned in any order. So as you can see, the barcode icon is bold for each and every field on the card, which means that basically there is no barcode focus inside the card anymore. All the barcode fields are active for the user. So you can scan either a production order number or an item cross-reference number or a location code or a bin code. So to prove that, I will turn on my camera for a couple of seconds. I don't want to bother you too much. What I would like to show you is this very cool stuff, which is a socket mobile device. But now it is configured for HID mode. So I'm also demoing the HID mode emulation of Windows 8 at the moment. So this is configured for character mode, and as you can see on my screen, I am having the Windows 8 running on my machine. So what I will do is that I will quickly scan in a white barcode from my test, and yeah, there is an NAV error because what I said is not true. So the location code should not be specified until the item number is selected. So now I will then scan in an item number. So I'm scanning in an item number, and basically what I have scanned in is the item cross-reference number, and as you can see, the item number has been inserted. This is already an existing feature, but what you need to know is that now I have just scanned in a barcode like this, so it's not the item number what you have see on the screen. So now I will try to scan in the location code and then bin code. Yeah, there is no bin selection for this white warehouse at the moment, but what you can see from the demo, and I can also, of course, scan in the production order number just to fill out everything. So what you can see from this demo is that after scanning one after the other, I can fill out my new consumption journal line. So just very quickly again, scan this, scan that, scan the white, and I don't need to care about the warehouse focus. Everything is filled in right after the other. The user should not take care about the barcode focus on the card. And this is also true for the lists. So on the list, you can also filter for different aspects. So for example, if I go to the bin content, I can again scan in the same item number, then I get all the occurrences of this item in the different warehouses and bin combinations. And if I go further and I just scan in, for example, the bin code, then it will be further filtered. And if you open up the filter panel, you can also see what happened under the hood. So now I've scanned in the item number and the bin code as well. So you will see a list here. So the smart scanning is basically makes the user's life much more easier, and you don't need to care about the barcode focus anymore inside the MobileNAV application. And this is true for all of the clients. So all the Android, the iOS, the Windows 8, the Windows Phone, and the Windows CE will support the smart scanning feature if there is a connected scanner either in HID mode or device-specific mode or socket mobile mode. Okay, that's about smart scanning. The next one is the workflow wizard behavior. That is the most interesting feature of 4.7, I believe, because, yeah, if you remember, sometimes the customers or the partners came out with ideas that they would like to configure something like a workflow or a wizard-like user interface for the employee, because most of the cases the users should do certain actions in the right order, and by default NAV doesn't really support that. So basically, and MobileNAV also don't support that. So basically, it just gives you a list of fields. With field control, you could control what is editable and not editable at a certain stage. But to be honest, to configure the field control, you had to code a little bit on the pages, and that is not the most convenient way of very quickly putting together a very simple workflow or a wizard, which basically just hides and displays or makes certain fields read-only and makes certain fields mandatory on a page which contains multiple fields. So to achieve that was not really easy. So therefore we have designed this workflow or wizard behavior feature, which is also fully configurable. But the good news is that you don't need coding for that. What we have did is that we have introduced the concept of stages inside a card. So if you open a card, then you can have multiple stages. And what is a stage? The stage is basically a state in the workflow. So let's talk about, for example, a warehouse pick. If you open a warehouse pick line, then first you would like to have the user to confirm, for example, the item number that he's really picking the right item in the warehouse. For that, we had no validation or no feature which could support that, because the item number is already read-only, so there were no such thing. But now with the workflow and wizard behavior, we have introduced validation behaviors. You can read the different validation behaviors on the screen, like scan with warning, scan to validate, and mandatory. The meaning of these are basically when the validation behavior is scan, then basically that field is an editable field, but you can only enter the value with scanning. The other option, that scan with warning, is basically the option where, again, it's an editable field. It can have already a value which you can where you can scan the same thing and then it's confirmed. Or if you are about to change the value, then you will also have a warning that, okay, do you really want to change the bin code? So that's a decision between scan and scan with warning, when what should happen when the user is about to change the value. And scan to validate is what was I talking about on the beginning. So if you select the scan to validate, then basically what will happen is that only the entered value will be accepted by the application. So you need to scan in the right item. And in this case, since the item is configured for item cross-reference, you need to scan in the proper item cross-reference to confirm that you are picking the right item in this case. And the mandatory is just about the mandatory fields. So if there is a field like quantity to handle, and that should be bigger than 0, then you can set it to mandatory, and then the user will see what to do. So given these options, we try to create a very convenient user interface. It's not this one here, but I will show you that. So quickly, MobileNAV lists, configuration and warehouse shipment. And as you can see on the general tab, we have the stages here. We have auto next stage and back next visible, which are basically just a couple of control fields. But basically what the interesting here is that if you press on the stages, you will have a nice user interface here, which gives you the different stages. Here you can see the first stage, which is scan item, and you can specify which fields should be shown at that stage and which are the read-only fields there. And here you can also set the validation behavior. So you can very quickly click on those fields which you would like to see in that stage. Also, if a certain field is visible, then you can also decide whether it should be read-only or not in that stage. And you can also set the validation behavior in that stage. So basically, you can create multiple stages. Once you have created the stages, then you can very quickly fill out the buttons here. And basically, this is just like a wizard, which stage what should be visible and editable for the user. And once you are ready with that, that's what you basically should do in the configuration. So I think it's very, very simple. And if you log into the MobileNAV application, I would like to show you two occurrences of this workflow or wizard behavior. The first example will be the warehouse picks. So let's imagine that we already have a warehouse pick in our system, and we would like to achieve that the user, the warehouse employee, should scan in the item number to confirm that he's picking the right item. Then, and on the next stage, he should confirm the bin code. Once he has confirmed, but of course the bin code can be also changed with a warning message, because we would like to have a warning message for that. And once the bin code is confirmed, then he can edit the quantity to handle. And once that handled, depending on whether the item is with a serial number or lot number, then he should also scan that. And once everything is done, then he can press the register. So basically, that's the imagined workflow. That's a very simple I would say a very simple workflow. But with this configuration, what you have seen already, it can be really quickly put together. So let's see the behavior here. So I'm selecting this last warehouse pick. It has 2 lines. And let's select for the first line, because I would like to pick that first. As you can see, the card will be opened, but a couple of things happened. First of all, the first line format, so basically the title of the card has changed. So now it says scan item, because we have created a stage, and that stage description, the configuration is scan item. Of course, this is also configurable, so you can set up your own stages. And on the screen, you can also see that all of the fields are visible, but not editable. So the only editable or the only action at this stage is to confirm the item number, because its label is marked as red. This is because we have set it to scan to validate, because we need to validate that we are picking the right item. So now I will scan in the item number. Okay, I have scanned that in, and as you can see, it became green because we have scanned in the proper item number. If I'm trying to scan in a different item number, then I will see an error message. You have scanned an invalid barcode into the item number field, so that won't be accepted, of course, and you cannot go forward. So if I go back and I scan in the wrong number, then of course it won't become green. But if I'm scanning in the proper item number, then I can move forward. And now the title has changed to scan bin, because now we are in the second stage, which is about to select the bin. If I'm trying to manually edit the bin code, then I will see an error message. The field cannot be edited manually, only with scanning, because we have decided like that in the configuration that this is not an editable field. It can be only scanned in as a confirmation. So now I need to scan in the bin code, and here I can also change it to a different bin, but I will just simply scan in the same bin code, and now that is also green. And now the quantity handle will be editable and also marked as red, because I need to work on that right now. And the title is also enter quantity to handle. So if I change the quantity to handle, then the serial number will become editable, because this item is with the serial scanning, and not the lot number is not necessary for this item. And the last action is scanning in the serial number. And if you check the toolbar, there is no register button here. So the register is not available because we are not in the last stage. The staging has not been finished yet. So I will quickly scan in the serial number. So I have scanned in the serial number, and now the staging has finished. So the title became the original one. So now it's the default title. Everything is in its original state as you got used to, and the register button appeared on the bottom. So now the user can press register and register this line. One more thing happened, which is not about the workflow or result behavior. That will come a bit later, but it's a good example of that feature. Maybe you see that on the list, that take line became or got an icon on the beginning. And that is an enhancement of the field control feature. Field control you already know about. With field control now you can also control the list behavior, and not just creating or putting icons on the beginning of the lines. You can also color the first line format, the second line format, and also the background of the line. So per line basis, you can specify an icon, a first line color, second line color, and a background color. That's also a new feature. And as to prove that feature, I have configure the system in a way that once you set the quantity to handle equal to the quantity outstanding, then it gets a confirmed icon on the beginning. So now I just press the register button, and that line will gone. And just to quickly go and prove do the workflow very quickly again. This is another item that's a bicycle. I will scan in the bin code, the cross-reference number of the bicycle. I scan in the bin code, increase the quantity to handle, and I press register, and then the pick has gone away, and I can choose my next pick on my list. So that's, I hope you have you had a good feeling of how this workflow and wizard behavior can help the user in his daily operation. Maybe one more example, which is on the warehouse shipments, because now we have completely picked this shipment here. You can also see it on the list. This is shipment number 10, and that's the same thing, but there you don't need to scan in the serial number anymore, but once again scanning the item number. And here on this workflow, what is the difference? Basically, if I reopen this once again, is that you don't see all the fields on the beginning, because now it's more like a wizard. So now only just a couple of fields are visible. If I scan in the item number, then I see a bit more fields here, but the quantity to handle is not visible at the moment. Now I scan in the yeah, I got an error, sorry. I need to scan this one here, because that's the bin code. Sorry, I need to reopen that. Oops. So this one here, and now the quantity to ship should be editable, because that is normally it's not with the value. So then you can fill out the quantity to ship to a certain value, and then you can post the line individually, or go to the next line and do the same on the item number. So very quickly, and there you go. So so that's about warehouse operations. And what I would like to also announce is that all of this workflow and wizard behavior will be applied on our base configuration. So as you could see on the warehouse picks, the shipments, the receipts, the putaways, and all the other warehouse operations, will try to really utilize this feature, because we are not really developed that just for fun. It is because of a reason, because I really think that it makes the user's life much more easier. So that's about workflow and wizard behavior. Okay, next topic, hidden mode barcode reading. This means basically the support of any type of internal or external scanners, if that scanner is support HID mode. The HID mode is also known as keyboard emulation mode or character mode. So if the scanning device can emulate the keyboard, then you will be able to use that in MobileNAV from 4.7, independently from the platform, because Windows CE has already supported the character mode. If you remember, we had an option there, but none of the other platforms. But now we are extending that, and we have also redesigned the configuration wizard. I forgot to bring my configuration barcodes with me, but basically we are scanning. We are forcing the user to scan in 4 different predefined barcodes as the configuration, and that gives us basically a translation, because you can imagine that most of these external or internal scanners normally enters the characters in English US keyboard. That's not a problem for American or UK people, but for all the other world, it might be a problem. So for example, I'm using Hungarian keyboard on my laptop, which is Windows 8 or 10, and if I would like to use the keyboard emulation mode for the socket mobile device, then I will get a different character for the 0, for example. So therefore, we have also introduced something like a translation for the HID mode, keyboard or character translation. So as part of the configuration wizard, the system will remember about the different character translations, and those will be automatically applied. And you can see the platforms here: Windows 8, Android, iOS, and Windows Phone will support the HID mode barcode reading. And you have already seen that it's working, because I have used that in my demonstration already. Next topic, NFC tag reading. NFC tag reader will act just like a barcode reader. Same things will apply for that. So you can define regular expressions if you want to split the NFC content and extract, for example, the item cross reference or the item number or the description, whatever, and put it to different fields inside the application. So that part of the configuration did not change. So actually, this is just a client feature because you need to configure the mobile type barcode for NFC tag reading as well. We didn't want it to introduce a mobile type NFC because because that's more, for us, it's more or less the same thing. You write, you read something, either barcode or a QR code or an NFC tag, it doesn't matter. You can process that with regular expressions, and you can read the platforms here. Yeah, unfortunately, iOS doesn't support NFC tag reading, only for internal purposes. So you can pay with your credit card, etc. But you cannot use that as a developer right now. Maybe they will open that in the future. Then we will also extend this feature for the iOS. But the NFC tag reading will be available for Android, Windows 8, 10, and Windows Phone. Okay, one more interesting topic. First login improvements. If you remember, our first when the user first connects to his system, then it can take a while. We always say that the first login should always be done on a very stable Wi-Fi or fast mobile network connection, because it can take a while. And this is the detailed background, what is done in the background. So when you first download the configuration, that just to download the configuration schema, it takes 6 calls. Then we are downloading the configurable application icons and logos, that 63 calls. Then we have JavaScript files, which you can configure and customize, of course. That is also additional 67 calls. Then we have configuration icons, all the different configurable icons in the system. That's more than 200 calls. And we have HTML templates, etc. And then when all this happened, then we're downloading the offline data. Of course, that is also depending on the size of your database. But I'm having these numbers from our base configuration, from the demo server, when there is no profile. So if everything is included in our base configuration, these are numbers. Of course, these numbers can vary if you have a much smaller configuration, but this is the total time of our base configuration, just to give you an idea. So altogether, just to download the configuration, it takes 365 calls, and I have just tested that yesterday on mobile networks. It took more than 4.5 minutes. So that's a very huge number. And the biggest problem of this many calls is that some firewalls are blocking these attempts after a certain time, because these are very small calls right after the other, very fast, and the firewalls can take this as a denial of service attack, and then it holds or interrupts the connection for a while. So that could also resulted in a failed login if the firewall were configured like that. The offline data is 48 calls, but of course that depends on your configuration as well, and the number of data in the different offline pages. And let's see what we have done in 4.7. If you upgrade your add-on, because that's also requires for the add-on, obviously. So if you upgrade your add-on to 4.7, then these are the new numbers. So the configuration will still take 6 calls. That did not change, but we are downloading all the application icons and logos with 1 call. That will be 1 call, and then basically it will be a much bigger result. So basically the client will request all application icons and logos in 1 package, and the client will just simply process them and save them separately. The JavaScript are also downloaded as one single call, and since the JavaScript is a textual file, we are also applying compression on that. So if you just check the base configuration, JavaScript content is something like 2 megabytes of data if it's plain text, but with compression it will be less than 100 kilobytes. So that is also a new feature, that we can compress the files when it's given back. Of course, for the logos and icons, it doesn't make sense because the PNG is by default compressed. Okay, Config icons and HTML templates are also given back as one call, one single call, and the offline data download did not change. So as a result, basically we have the config can be downloaded with 9 calls, 9 different calls, and it went down. I have just tested that on the same machine, so the demo server, but with 4.7 add-on. The 4.5 minutes went down to 42 seconds altogether. I think this is very, very, very cool. The offline data download did not change because we have not touched that part, so that is still 36 seconds, but altogether is 1.5 minutes to download the full configuration with the offline data. I think that's a really huge improvement. This only applies for the first login. The subsequent logins are or should be fast already, because those are not downloading the configuration, so that part is not there anymore. Maybe if the offline data has changed, then it should download the offline data, but the subsequent calls were fast already. So maybe this is a good message or good news for the developers, because whoever developing the configuration, they will see much faster first login, because for them, of course, if every time you change the configuration, that will be a first login from the system's perspective. And I've already told about the field control improvements. I have already talked about the set first line color, set second line color, set background color, and the set row icon. The set row icon is basically setting the icon on the lists, and you can choose from our predefined application and predefined and configurable application icons. There we are also allowing you to add custom icons from 4.7. So not just about the set of the predefined application icons, but you can also specify custom icons, and you can use that on the lists as a row icon. So that's about the set first, second, and background color and row icon. The set focus is controlling the focus, of course, not with the smart scanning. So if you are still not want to use smart scanning, and you would like to control the barcode focus for any reason, then you have an operation for that from now on with field control. Remove parent filters is also for barcode scanning. You can remove any custom parent filters on a certain action on the card for any reasons. And we have also introduced a closed parent, which is not just closing the actual card, but its parent as well. So that's our new field control commands. And last but not least, multiple regular expressions. Regular expressions were existed already, so you could use them for splitting the barcode or the QR code into two different parts and write them into different fields. But from now on, from 4.7, you can also use it for validation. So if you say that you only accept in the serial number a barcode which start with SSN and a couple of numbers, then you can specify a regular expression for that, insert that in the configuration, and the regex result should have just a 0 number, which will apply the full barcode what has been scanned, but the application will validate against that regular expression. So you can also use that for validation. And the second news about regular expression is that you can use the bar character or the OR character in an AV for defining multiple regular expressions, because sometimes we got the question, okay, regular expression is fine, I can split a QR code into different parts, but what if I'm having different formats from different vendors? Can I do that? And now the answer is yes. You only need to use multiple regular expressions separated with a bar. Regular expression is supporting that. That was not a known feature for us, but now it's a known feature, so we are also trying to support that. Only what has changed is now the regular expression result is not just accepting one single number, but multiple numbers separated with a comma. So what it tells the client application, if the first part of the multiple regexes matches, then what is the position in the first regular expression? If you have a second regular expression in the regex text, then what is the position in that second one, etc., and so on and so forth. So basically, you can define multiple positions in the regex results, and then you can specify what is the position in the different formats for that particular field. So if you want to extract the item cross-reference number from a format A, like this, then that is the position of that. And in the second one is B, and so on and so forth. So that's the multiple regular expressions. So that concludes my presentations. Let's quickly talk about the next webinars. The upcoming webinars will be two topics, what we foresee at the moment: ServOcean and WVMS MobileNAV. ServOcean, it will be something like a repeated webinar about our new product, which includes customer portal, graphical scheduler, of course MobileNAV as a mobile platform, and automatic resource allocation. That's ServOcean. That ServOcean product concentrates on the service management, the field service companies, and we think that we have provided a very cool package for them, which basically fulfills all their different requirements on a IT level. And the next webinar is about WVMS MobileNAV. That will be end of August. By then, we will have all the different base configuration parts optimized with this very cool feature. So on that webinar, you will see the warehouse operation in the different areas, how easily it can be done, and how we have changed the base configuration given this workflow. And these are like behavior and smart scanning in the warehouse. So that will give you a very that will give you a new way of handling the warehouse with MobileNAV, and that will be around the end of August. You will have a follow-up email, and that will contain the registration link. So if you are interested, you can also save your seat for that. And yeah, thank you very much for attending the webinar. I hope you enjoyed that. We also willing to continue these webinars. So every month we would like to come out with a new webinar from a certain topic. Of course, now the topic was 4.7, which is the upcoming release. We possibly will have a new release webinar about this one as well. Once it's released, then we'll also show you all the different features once again. Then that will be around November or October, once we will close to the release date. And what I would like to also announce now, that was not on the PowerPoint slides, is the beta program, because the beta program was available in 4.6 already. You could download a Hyper-V image where the 4.7 was already there, and we have given you a Windows 8.10 installer package, which you could install, because the store is of course not downloading the new version right now. It will be around November when all those different stores will contain the new version. But prior to that release, you can also already start presenting or just trial that. Of course, it will be a beta release, so please do not accept fully and bug-free behavior. Also not from the add-on and not from the client application, but what I have demonstrated right now will be hopefully available very soon for you to try and test, and you can already start to apply or basically design and customize the configuration for 4.7 if you think that it makes much more sense than to use the 4.6 with the current version. So I don't know if there are any questions. I don't see any questions right now. If you have any questions, then you can quickly write that into the chat window. Yeah, you are very welcome, Michael, and all the others. So I hope you enjoyed that. The webinar will be available as a recording because we have recorded the webinar, so you can also share it with your colleagues. And yeah, have a nice day, and see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Folyó, de előtte volt egy kérdés. Jól láttam. Te faszom.
Okay, there is one question. Do you have an NAV type of performance benchmark? NAV type. What do you mean by NAV type performance benchmark? That was Miguel. Any type of benchmark. About what? What kind of benchmark do you mean? About the login or what?
Sem tudsz neki hangot adni. Talán egyszerűbb már úgyis senki.
What is the number of users? Transaction per day. Okay. Yeah. So the question was that what is the time limit? What is the limit of number of users of transactions? That only depends on NAV, to be honest, because we are totally utilizing the NAV core and the NAV transaction logic, or the committing, and so basically what MobileNAV is doing is that it's invoking a page web service or a method inside a code unit which invokes the standard code unit. So there it is not our limitation but NAV limitation. What version of NAV that support for MobileNAV? Yes, 4.7 will be supported all of the NAV platforms. So from 2009 R2 technically or above. So basically that will be the MobileNAV 4.7, and yeah, with the latest versions: 2009 R2, 2013 13 R2, 15, 16, and 17 as well. And by the time of the release, we hopefully will already have NAV 2018, and that will be also supported, of course. Okay. If there is when it is released, yes, it's the planned release date is around November. I hope we will be able to release it a bit sooner. We definitely demo and demonstrate and bring the 4.7 with us on the conference season, which will be starting middle of September and October season. So there you can already try out on our devices if you are also coming to the Directions EMA, Directions US, NAV Tech Days, or NavUG, for example. And there will be a beta program, as I have announced, hopefully pretty soon. So end of this summer, you will be able to download a Hyper-V image with the 4.7 installed with the base configuration and the add-on, and we'll give you a 4.7 Windows 8 and 10 installer package, which you can upload to your laptop or device. And you can try the new feature on that in the beta already. Do you have numbers about the biggest customers that uses MobileNAV? Yes, we have numbers. The biggest warehouse customer of us is more than 200.
That's right.
Yeah, and that is a retail customer in the UK. So if you are interested about the performance and how MobileNAV is performing in the warehouse, then we can give you direct contact to our partners, and they can give you references for that, of course. Yes. Is that right that we need for each MobileNAV client also limited user of NAV? Yeah, limited user and the full user is a concurrent user, so that only required when the user is online and connected. So the same applies as in NAV, but we also have a different type of NAV license, which is the ISV device license. And since we are talking about the warehouse release, it's very optimal for the warehouse employees, because the ISV device license is one device, one unit, and the price is very convenient and cheap for the users. Okay, if you don't have any other questions, then thank you very much once again. And if you still have questions, of course, you can reach us by email or over the phone, and we can organize a private meeting with you if you have further questions. So we are open to that. And yeah, have a nice day and see you next time. Bye-bye.